Hey everyone, welcome to the DOS pedal installation video. These are the tools you're going to need to install your DOS pedal onto your Herbert Arnold torch. First, flathead screwdriver. Secondly, if you can find it, if you have it, an 8mm wrench. I really like these because of how narrow it is. Third, you're going to need a 4mm Allen key. I'm using my bike Allen key. A crescent wrench will be handy. And also, it's possible you are going to need a butter knife. All right, let's get started. So first thing you're going to want to do is remove the screws from this side of your torch. This is the handle side. This is what the flathead screwdriver does. Pull that off. And your second one, I've actually already removed, but here's where the butter knife comes in handy. Unless you want to pull this air valve off, which I personally don't, to get in there, I'll use a butter knife so that I can get in on the side of that flathead screw and loosen that. So then you're going to have both of these two screws removed. Next, you're going to tip your torch forward. That's going to allow you to slide the pedal in easier, or the assembly that attaches to the side of the pedal. That's going to be this part. Also, while you're installing your pedal, make sure you have this end part depressed all the way. That's going to help you align everything as you get it set up. So this part pressed down. All right, next, you're going to slide this in. Oh, also, I always recommend you have your torch mounted so it won't fall down. I have my torch mounted on a monitor arm stand, which is quite handy. It helps me move the torch around. Also, another thing, clean this handle. You don't want this greasy. You're going to attach to that and clamp, and you're going to need that friction. So the cleaner it is, the better. Alrighty. Going to remove these bolts and screws from this, taking that off, pulling this rubber washer off. Going to put this rubber gasket around the handle, save that there for later. Next, I'm going to take this, I'm going to slide it in. Watch how I slide it in. It needs to go in between the oxygen and the propane. All right, so we got that on there. This next part, you're gonna have these two 8mm bolts. This is an important part. I like to do the bottom bolt first. I will put it in there. Be careful not to drop these. Make sure you've cleaned up your floor beforehand so you'll be able to find it if you do drop it. All right, so I like to get the thread started by hand first. Then find that hole. All right, we're in the hole. We're not in the hole. We're in the hole. All right, there we are. Getting the thread started on the bottom one first. Always easier to get the bottom one started first. Tighten it by hand. Make sure you're not cross-threading it. Second, I'm going to go and put this top one in. Tighten that one by hand. Make sure I'm not cross-threading it. All right, this part is where the 8mm comes in handy. You're going to go in, since you've got your torch tip forward, you're going to go and you're going to slowly tighten it. Don't over tighten these bolts. You could break one off. They need to be snug, but they don't need to be furiously tight. These are strong bolts. They're made of steel, but I have seen somebody break one off before. All right, next you're going to go and you're going to tighten this top one. All right, since I got mine finger tight, they're pretty good. Next step, I have the pedal depressed the way I showed you in the beginning of the video. This is going to line up with the handle here. I'm going to take this part, I'm going to have it in this direction. I'm going to slide it on there. I'm going to make sure the rubber gasket is in between the wheel and that aluminum part so that it grips the handle. Slide the bolts on, slide the bolts through. All right. I'm going to finger tighten the nuts on there. Let's do one time. These are lock nuts, so you'll get it close to where it starts locking, and then you'll need that wrench and your 4mm Allen key. All right, got that set up. Now I'm gonna make sure and depress. So I have my torch turned off, just the way I like it, or running the smallest flame possible on the torch. Now I'm going to keep that depressed, just so I make sure that it doesn't change. I'm gonna go in and tighten these up. Again, you want these snug, but you don't want it to be bending any of the material, so don't have it over snug. So DOS pedal turns the handle a quarter turn. Got everything snugged up. It's not bending anything too much. It's nice and grippy. I've cleaned off that wheel, so it's not going to slip on it. And let's give it a test. Opens it that quarter turn, closes it all the way back to where I wanted it. This is where I like to have mine and how I like to have it set up. I like to have mine so that it goes all the way to here. You can adjust these threads here depending on how you want that. Again, I really like the monitor arm stand. Now it's time to fire up the torch and see how she works. DOS pedal works best at between 25 and 30 psi oxygen, depending on how you have your torch tuned. All right, if you're lighting your torch with a lighter, I always recommend that you use a dead lighter so it can never explode on you. All right, that's the smallest flame I use, and I have it turned all the way forward. Turn it all the way up. Depending on your gas and oxygen pressures, you'll now be able to scroll through your flames. You still may need to do some fine tuning to figure out what's going to work best for you. But this is a great place to start, and it's going to allow you to change in between these flames quickly and hands-free. Alrighty, hey, I'm Brian Ratcliffe, Surf Rock Glass, inventor of DOS pedal. Thanks again for checking out this installation video, and hit me up on Instagram if you have any questions, @DOS pedal.